Alright guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If this is your first time of joining, please do not forget to give a thumbs up to this video and click the subscription button. Also, you can click the bell icon to get notifications so that every time I release a new video, you will be alerted. So in the previous tutorial, I talked about the for loop. But in this tutorial, we will be discussing the while loop. So I'll just take this off quickly and I'll explain to you what we do in the while loop. So for the while loop, the first thing we often do is we need to, first of all, we set the initialization. Then after the initialization, when we use our while loop, we will put the relationship then once we're done filling in the relationship, we need to finally add the increment. Okay, so this is basically what we need to do while using the while loop. Now, in the previous tutorial, we solved the fizzbuzz question using the for loop. So this time around, we'll use the while loop to solve the fizzbuzz relationship, the fizzbuzz code once again. Okay, so to begin, as usual, I would initialize two variables, num and I. I will be the variable I'll be using to increment, while num will be the value provided by the user. We'll see how we use that eventually. Okay, so once again, to use the while loop, the first thing we need to do is to set the initialization. So I'll set my I to be equal to 1. Then I'll say while I is less than 50. Let me start with 20. While I is less than 20, what do I need to do? Okay, now I will introduce my if statement because I want, for the fizzbuzz, I want fizz to get printed if the number is a factor of 3, and I want buzz to get printed if the number is a factor of 5, and I want fizzbuzz to get printed if the number is a factor of both 3 and 5. However, for all of the other numbers, we would get the numbers printed out. Okay, so once again, I'd say if I modulo 3 is equivalent to 0, print for me, fizz with a space, terminate my statement. Okay, else if I is divided by 5 gives a remainder of 0. This time around, I want you to print for me buzz with a space. Then okay, else I want you to print for me the number, which is I. Okay, so let's attempt to run this code and let's see what the output will be. Okay, now you realize that okay, I did not terminate the statement here and here as well. Okay, so for the while loop, after indicating the relationship, the next thing we need to do is to add the increment. So outside the final else statement, before at the end of the while loop, I need to add my increment, and then I run that accordingly. Okay. Okay, so now should have my Alright, so increment, then I exit, I close my while loop, and then I have this printed. Now notice that I have 1, 2, 3 gets printed as fees, 4, 5 gets printed as boss, 6 gets printed as fees, but my iteration stops at 19. So I need to simply do this, change this to 21, because for your while loop, the while loop will run as long as I is less than 20 and 19 is less than 20, so the loop will continue to run. But if I put 21 here, so the loop will run up to 20 starting from 1. So once again, I'm running that. Okay, so you see that 22 gets printed as buzz because 20 is a factor of 5. Alright, so now let's incorporate fizzbuzz. So instead of printing fees for 15, I want fizzbuzz to get printed. So I'll come to the first if statement here now and add another if. So if I divided by 3 is equivalent to 0, I want another check to be done. If it's divided by 5 and it's also 0, then I want print to print for me fizzbuzz, else I want to get fizz printed. Then I close the if statement, and yeah, so I run the code once again. Why do I keep forgetting? Please do not be like me, always terminate your statement. Okay, so here now I notice that 15 gets printed as fizzbuzz because 15 is both a factor of 3 and also 5. If I change this to 51, for example, see the code will run. I have fizzbuzz for 45, fizzbuzz for 30, fizzbuzz for 15. Okay, now at this point, I want the iteration to run based on the input provided by the user. So I'll come here and say, first I want you to print for me, please enter a value. Then I want to take input from user, so once again I use my scanf. What input do I want? I want the input to be a number or an integer. Then I use my and num. So the value that will be imputed will be saved into this variable that I initialized. Terminate my system, my statement. So this will be num plus 1, because oftentimes you'd expect a user to impute the value of the number of iterations you want to run. So either I put num plus 1 here, or I change this to less than or equal to. But for safety reasons, because I'm using the while loop, I preferably stick with the less than, and then just put num plus 1 here. So I'll run the code. Okay, so value say 50, and then you see the fizzbuzz gets run 50 times. 50 is included because I actually did num plus 1 here. So 50 will be less than 51, so the code will run 50 times. Let's try once more again. This time let me provide 100. Good, so you see the code runs up to 100 times. We have 90 here, which is both a factor of 3 and 5 gets printed as fizzbuzz. Okay, so basically that is what you need to remember using the while loop. For the while loop, you must set your initialization. Then inside the while loop, you put your relationship, and then before terminating the while loop, you must add your increment. If I did not increment this while loop will continue to run endlessly, and that can cause your system to misbehave. So that will be all in this tutorial. Do not forget to like this video and to subscribe for my YouTube channel, At the same time, do not forget to click the notification bell so that you can be alerted once I drop any new video.